I'm back. Rhodes Rants on Star Wars. You might be like, whoa, Rhodes, camera angle. Yeah, I wanted you to be able to see all of this cluster F that we're about to go over in regards to the Rise of Skywalker. And Disney further sticking an arrow in all of George Lucas fans' eyes. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker brought back a familiar bounty hunter in a really messed up way. This is from Slash Film, and I know you're looking at that image on my screen going, what is happening here? The Rise of Skywalker brings back a lot of characters from the original trilogy and features plenty of nostalgic references to the history of the sci-fi saga. However, there's one particular character returned that you almost certainly never noticed. And like a lot of additional details about the Rise of Skywalker these days, this revelation comes from supplementary sources and materials. The character in question is a bounty hunter from The Empire Strikes Back, and believe me when I say you will be perplexed in the manner in which this character has returned. And of course, we all remember the famous scene. I have said in the past, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I love the bounty hunters. That's one reason I like the Mandalorian show so much, because Boba Fett is in my top 3 favorite characters ever. But I can tell you, Dengar is up there too. I can still remember the Kenner Dengar action figure. Dengar showed up in the Clone Wars. He's been around for a minute. So, as we go on here, you're going to be like, oh man. Because I went, oh man. Dengar's face doesn't look like it's in the best condition, and the wrapping around his head looks restricting, almost like Mummy, who stumbled into a career as a galactic bounty hunter, which sounds like a pretty good idea for a movie. Anyway, in the years since, Dengar has been given plenty of history thanks to the Clone Wars, Marvel Comics, and more, but his life after The Empire Strikes Back appears to have been plenty rough, because this is what Dengar looks like now. That's right. The picture on my screen is Dengar. No, that's not Mr. Freeze from Batman. What is happening here? Why is this happening? Why is Dengar look like some reject out of a Terminator movie or Total Recall movie right now? Like the stuff that didn't make it, Stan Winston threw away on the cutting room floor? Of course, the image comes from the good old Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary. But the character is listed under the name Hrothgar Ding. StarWars.com hinted at the origins of this character when pointing him out in the book. In a post back in February, quote, hanging out in the lair of ne'er-do-wells known as the Thieves' Corner in Kijimi City was a bounty hunter with many cybernetic parts. An old Corellian hunter with an affinity for Imperial-era stormtrooper armor, using the alias Hrothgar Ding. The Ultimate Visual Dictionary, we get hints here of somebody we ought to know, but I can't seem to place the name of this now hideous monstrosity of low-budget augmentation who we might have seen during the Clone Wars and chasing the Millennium Falcon after Hoth. Ding it. It's the last part that seemingly confirms that Hrothgar Ding is none other than Dengar. The character's description on the Visual Dictionary paints a pretty sad portrait of the once thriving bounty hunter. This is the excerpt for Hrothgar Ding, brought to us by Alan Johnson on Twitter. Hrothgar is an old, experienced Corellian bounty hunter who is likely operating under an alias. He has been subjecting himself to cybernetic replacements in a poorly planned bid to live and work forever. As age began to slowing his reflexes and dulling his senses, Rothgar turned to the black market surgical clinics to replace damaged and wizened body parts with ones that will give him an advantage in his dangerous trade. Poor decision-making has led to his ghastly appearance. The character was even included as a downloadable version in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Okay, so there you have it. It was in the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary. Disney did it again. Why didn't you just leave Dengar alone? And in the case of the sequel trilogy era, Dengar most likely would have been dead of old age. Instead, you kept him alive and turned him into Mr. Freeze from Batman. Which one is it? Batman and Robin? The second worst DC movie ever? Next to the Birds of Prey? I mean, look at that character. Look at that face. Look how awful they made Dengar look. And yeah, I know they said they gave him an alias, but the guy dropped a massive hint when he said Ding It. You know, Dengar, and they said he's working under an alias. So, and you see very favorable, I mean, the brown on the Empire costume versus the brown in the new one, cybernetic arms. It's the head that just jacks the whole thing up. So, now they got a character that they can put in anything for who knows how long. The Mandalorian, stuff that comes after the sequel trilogy. Poor old Dengar is going to have to saunter his way out with his cybernetic legs to star in the next clusterfuck movie. Hell, maybe he'll show up in The Mandalorian. Not like this, I hope. I want to see the original version. Because it's only 5 years after Jedi. And by the way, I could have swore Dengar was on the skiff barge that blew up outside of Jabba's palace. The same one Boba was on, by the way. But he was in the palace for sure. Dengar was in Return of the Jedi. Tell me what you think, Rhodes Squadron. Why does Disney keep touching Star Wars characters? Original trilogy Star Wars characters, quit touching them because you're doing it in impure ways. And you're fucking them all up. This is ridiculous. This is awful. This is Dengar. This is your Star Wars. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. I got King Kong in the trunk.